And to Culture Wars, and I've got to say, the Matildas, the Australian women's soccer team, is launching a culture war all of its own. With this video, just days ahead of the FIFA World Cup for women, they are complaining that the prize money, an incredible $160 million, is still not enough, because the prize money for the Men's World Cup was much bigger.
We've come a long way in a short time.
But we're not stopping now.
Collective bargaining has allowed us to ensure we now get the same conditions as the Socceroos, with one exception. FIFA will still only offer women 1/4 as much prize money as men for the same achievement.
Joining me is Rowan Dean, editor of The Spectator Australia, host of Outsiders here on Sky News every Sunday at 9 a.m. Rowan, equal pay for women, fair enough?
Andrew, Bjorn Lomborg was just telling you that we don't spend enough on education in the world, in the West, and that's certainly, the Matildas certainly have shown that up. This is the problem when you bring up an entire generation to believe both that traditional socialist policies are the norm, you know, collective bargaining. I mean, what sports person should be talking about collective bargaining and unions and things like that, and that the free market, that you can kind of merge the two. They don't understand that they're competing systems. So the idea of the free market is you get untold wealth through merit. And you perform at your very best, whatever it's sports, business, whatever it might be, the better you are, the more likely you are to become wealthy because you're doing your job to the best of your ability. Not because a collective bargaining position has said, here you go, you must have the same money as X, Y, and Z. And the problem here, Andrew, is that we know that, or recent figures suggest that the viewing public aren't nearly as interested in the Matildas as the Matildas themselves are, and that the viewing public has gone from, I think it was 180,000 down to 50,000 or something at some recent event.
Oh,
that's a 70% drop.
AFL Women's League. The AFL Women's League, it dropped off.
The Women's League, okay.
They lost 70% of their audience from the time they started. And they too are demanding more pay, more rounds, equal treatment to the men. I think what the fundamental thing here is, Rowan, there's been a snap in the idea that you are paid because other people want to pay you. And if people don't want to watch you and they don't want to pay for your merch, they don't want to sponsor you as much, they don't get the clicks on their websites, you don't get the money. It's not a question of, oh, the men got it, so I should.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. That's capitalism, baby.
It's the entitlement mentality.
Well, I just wonder why they don't say
it's the
why they
entitlement
compare themselves to the male soccer players and not other women. Like, they don't say, we want pay parity with other women who are also doing hard work, like nurses and teachers. We want pay parity with them. I don't hear that, Rowan.
Yeah, exactly. And you also saw recently the netballers, the women's netball team, who turned away money that was being given to them by a sponsor, by Gina Reinhart and Hancock, for political reasons. So the politicisation in the education of our kids is having such disastrous results. People don't understand how basic economics works.
And then again, they were shocked and horrified that they weren't getting as much money, as if, you know, they should be paid for their virtue. I don't know. Hey, Rowan, Energy and Climate Change Minister Chris Bowen today absolutely blasted Liberal leader Peter Dutton. This is after Labor lost the by-election, so Peter Dutton had to get some back, I guess. Blasted him for leading a team that includes, he said, alt-right people. They're far-right, nasty right-wingers. And climate deniers, and he named some: Jared Rennick, Alex Antic, Barnaby Joyce, David Littleproud, and a few others I can't recall. Fair call?
Chris Bowen is the gift that just keeps on giving. My attitude is please give Chris Bowen as much airtime, as much media time. Labor, you know, let him out on a long leash, let him say whatever he wants to say, because every time this bloke opens up his mouth, people across Australia are looking at their electricity bill, which they were promised would go down by $275. They weren't promised it once, they were promised it nearly 100 times in the run-up to the election, so they voted accordingly. They look at their electricity bills, which are going through the roof, and they know that they're going to keep going through the roof, to the point that they know Mrs. Kafoops down the road probably won't be able to feed herself properly. It'll be a choice between heating and eating, as it is in Europe. This is what Chris Bowen has done to this country. He's destroying our landscape with his mad insane windmill policies. We now learn that they're hoping to float the windmills because the indigenous communities in Portland, I think it was, don't want them anywhere near them. And so they're going to have floating windmills floating off, which haven't been invented yet, by the way, along with green hydrogen, which hasn't been invented yet. So we have an energy minister and a Labor Party who are putting all our eggs, not theirs, in this mad renewables basket. And we're going to be the ones who lose out because they'll all toddle off on their pensions, their lifetime pensions, to probably secure employment at various climate institutions around the world. Chris Bowen is right to say, and I'm stealing this line from Keith Pitt, who had it on the radio, a brilliant interview on 2GB this afternoon, where Keith Pitt said, yes, Chris Bowen is right that the world is now riddled with deniers. It's riddled with fact deniers. And chief among them is Chris Bowen, Anthony Albanese, who refuse to recognise the simple facts of science.
Yeah, I noticed that action against the wind farm off, I think it's Portland or somewhere off the coast. And yes, they said, sacred sites. One superstition being used to defeat another. And both said, oh, we'll put it much further away. And I had a farmer on yesterday, and there are many of them saying, we don't want these monstrosities, wind farms and the thing goes over our land. My advice to them is ask your local Aboriginal friend to find some stone or something sacred, and it'll be like garlic in front of the vampire. You will not
exactly.
get Chris Bowen's
it's already happening, Andrew. Exactly.
It's already happening. I think it's marvellous. Just quickly, you're an ad man. I've only got 40 seconds. An ad man, the Voice campaign, going down the toilet, they've got a bucket load of ad money that they've been saving for later. Too late, isn't it?
Well, yes, I'm speaking as an ad man, and I'm going to take a line from Ramesh Thakur in The Spectator Australia this week. The problem isn't the advertising, the problem is the product. The product, The Voice, is a rubbish product because it doesn't work, because nobody knows and can say what it could possibly do. Therefore, all the advertising in the world won't save you. All the feel-good stuff won't save you because the product itself is a dud. And the public aren't stupid. They don't buy dud products. That's the way it works.
Rondine,
advertising won't help them.
Thanks for your time.